Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's G. I am away from home at my retreat that I come to a few times a year, and I absolutely needed to come before the end of the year. I just needed to. I don't know if I've talked about it on my channel before, but I am talking about it now. It's something that it's a whole series on its own, because it's kind of difficult to explain, and it's difficult to explain, but it's been quite key to my recovery in a way, in terms of recovering from being dissociated. It's been a massive part of it. I'm in the Cotswolds. I'm in Cirencester. And as you all know, I do video journaling because I don't want to write. So after my session today at the retreat, it's come to light that I do need to write. And I think earlier this week I mentioned about active avoidance of doing things, which I think for me is a better definition of procrastinating in my mind. So some revelations came up today, which explained a lot of why I've been avoiding a lot of things. So that all has to change. And for lack of a better phrase, I have to step into my purpose. I have to step into everything I've been blessed with and use it properly. That's all I can say for now. The other thing that's happened today is, oh, by the way, the hotel is okay, because I couldn't stay at the farm because the farm closes over winter. You can't stay over because it's too cold for guests. So I'm at a hotel nearby. The hotel isn't great. It's not as great as I thought it would be. But for what I paid, Anyway, the other thing that I have realized, I think I knew about it before, but I just wasn't applying myself properly, is the fact that I can use technology to make my life easier. So what I've done is I finally figured out how to, not figured out, I've always seen it before, but now I can actually dictate what I want to type up, what I want to write up. So that's what I've been doing whilst processing today, because once you've spoken, once you've had your therapy session, essentially, you're supposed to go away and process. And normally when you're at the farm, you go to your room, which you have an ensuite to yourself, and you process, or you go for a walk or something, and you're not distracted at all. There's barely any reception there, so and they're like-minded people that you can talk to if you want to talk to them. And I'm only there for about 3 days, 2 nights, 3 days, but that's not possible this time around. And I could only stay for 1 night this time. And actually, because I told my therapist that I could only stay that I was staying for the night, she's actually made time to see me tomorrow morning. So it's kind of like I have to report my homework to her tomorrow. So anyway, as I was saying, I finally figured out how to, or rather remembered how I can use technology to help me with keeping my notes, keeping my journals. And my therapist told me off today because she said that every time I come there, I say to her, I haven't processed the last time I came properly. And I have this thing where the minute I leave this area and I get home, it's very easy to use different things that I'm doing at home, being a mom, being a wife, working when I had a job, to distract me from what I need to do. And I explained to her how the last few months, which I've been calling my wilderness months, have really tested me. I've had so many highs, so many lows, and I've been forced to basically process. So it's one of those things where you can avoid it for all you want, but at some point you're gonna have to face it. And one thing she said, or the analogy she used, was like, imagine you have a bucket of water, but you keep trying to put two more into it. There's literally no room in there. It's just not possible. And the journey to self, as I've said before on this channel, is the hardest one you're ever going to take, but it's one you have to take by yourself. If you truly, truly want to find out who you are, truly, truly what your soul is. So anyway, I digress. I have now started typing up my notes, like dictated. So I was reading my journal. I've got a big fat journal, but I'm using it as a stand for my phone. I wasn't even planning to record anything today. I wasn't. But one thing I realized is that, and the reason I'm on my laptop here is because I need to dictate this so that I don't have to type it up afterwards. So I haven't started recording yet because it is easier for me to edit as I go along. Right, okay, so I'm going to start recording now. I've got my mic here. Okay, so what I found is that by doing things this way, in terms of recording or dictating my thoughts while I'm recording for YouTube or for whatever, because I'll do the same for my podcast, the sooner I can learn to make this a regular thing for me, the easier it would be for me. Because one of the things I always use as an excuse is that, oh, I don't have time to process. When I get home, I have to do all these other jobs and blah, blah, blah. So time is finite in terms of the number of hours in a day. You only have a set number of hours in a day, in a week, in a whatever. So you just have to make the time for it. And the same thing I was saying to my husband, I think it was the last week or the week before, we're talking about something, and we said, like, if we don't intentionally make time to spend together and make it a priority, it's just not going to happen. So anything that you really want to get done, if you don't prioritize it, it's not going to get done. That's just how it is. And so I'm like, and I was at a webinar yesterday, online webinar, where, I mean, the clue is in the name, webinar. It was on the web, where they said something about you should try to, what's that word? It was talking about mental stuff and trauma, whatever. And it was saying, like, you just have to make the time, and you really have to want to do something. You can't force yourself to do it. Or like, if you make it a chore, I'm trying to remember exactly what the man said, but it was a man that I'm aware of, that I know of his work. And it was basically a way for you to heal yourself from any sort of like trauma or whatever. And I'm trying to remember the exact point, but it's not coming to me. Anyway, it's very, and also as I'm doing this and talking and dictating this thing, I definitely need to learn how to be more concise with what I'm trying to say, so that I have a lot less editing to do on the laptop, which is why I've always said I want to have like a more structured way of doing things. But the psychologist mentioned that if you make time to record, maybe like in a week, I think it was saying something like the number of times you say yes and the number of times you say no when you really want to say yes, and the other way around, it would really help you to get to your true self or something like that. And the acronym he had for the what do you call it, for what he was, the program he was offering was heal, and the first letter H stood for hear the pain, and then E stood for empower yourself, A was align something, and then I can't remember what L was. Live something. I can't remember. Maybe live authentically. I don't know what it was. But hearing your pain is something that my therapist mentioned today. Hearing your pain and having to allow yourself to go into certain places you don't really know if you want to go to. But if you don't go to that place and really, really confront it, you can't move forward. And you always feel like you're on a hamster wheel, which is what I said to her. So, yeah, there's a lot to do there, but I need to bring all my writings over time into one place, which is here. And the good thing is most of them are written down. So I'm going to start with all the stuff I've written down and then just dictate it, basically just read it out and have it on here. And yeah, I'm going to start doing that regularly. I've got lots of different bits of paper from all my trips to the farm over time, and I'm just trying to think of what we did today in terms of the homework I have for tomorrow. And there's basically evidence, I think, of why I do some things that I do, and also why I have pain in my knees, especially my left knee, because this is the other thing that came up in the thing yesterday. The psychologist said, whatever pain that's manifesting in your body is from your brain, and then it's from your gut. So from gut to brain to body. So there's always that connection there, which I'm very well aware of. And one big thing I definitely need to work on is taking ownership of my part in certain things and certain situations, which I've kind of started to do. And you can't take ownership of something if you can't see it, that this is what you contributed to it. So, and then what I want to end this with is something she said, which was when we're talking about the different emotions that were coming up as I was talking. And some of them are trapped, anger, injustice, responsibility, taking ownership or not taking ownership, deceit, guilt, and then active avoidance, obviously. But the one thing I want to end this with is that the fear and the pain of most situations is easier than trusting the process or whatever. Like, fear and pain is easier than trusting. And I think it's kind of like because it's easier to just blame something through your pain or whatever. But that's something I need to work on tonight. And I've always said that, was it towards the end of last year, I came to the realization that everything I want is on the other side of fear. And at the time, I didn't know what that meant, but I am working on it. But I can't keep making excuses for not having time to work on it, because I can make time to work on it. I can absolutely make time to work on it. And I literally signed up to an AI 30-day something, I think last week, because it's Sunday today. And I need to get onto that because it's basically going to show me how I can use technology to make my life easier. And on that note, I will leave you all to have a very good evening. And yeah, take care and have a wonderful evening. Peace and love.